I don't have a lot of time to say this because I'm on assignment to cover weigh-ins for MMA Mania, so you'll forgive me if my words falter or I don't get out the entirety of the message I want to, but I do need to acknowledge the passing of Roddy Piper. He was born Roderick George Toombs, but we all know him as the Hot Rod, the fiery wrestling legend of the 1980s, the man who could be argued to have helped carry a couple of WrestleManias by feuding with Hogan and Mr. T in various combinations, the man who single handedly changed the face of the wrestling landscape with his interview style because just when you think you would have the answers, he'd change the questions. He made Piper's Pit a legendary segment that was so big that every few years WWE would bring him back to try to do it one more time, even now at his current age and state. Well, not age anymore because he's no longer with us, but he passed at the age of 61, and he was entertaining till the very end. The older he got, the crazier and more wild he seemed to be. He never held back. He wasn't afraid to share his opinion about anything in or outside of the wrestling business, whether it was popular or not. And he he was still active. He just a few years ago he was on the Legends House show that was taped for possible distribution as a TV reality show, but it ended up on the WWE network when that launched, and he was definitely the star of that. And you could see him on the convention circuit, which is where I met him at a Days of the Dead in Indianapolis, and he's a very charming and affable person. He doesn't put on airs or act larger than life, or I should say he didn't. Again, this is really weird because it doesn't feel real to me that Piper has passed away, but what do you say? He had a cardiac arrest late Thursday night, early Friday morning. The exact time isn't clear, but it depends on what time zone you're in, what day it was, either Thursday night or Friday morning. And our condolences go out to his entire family. He's got four kids, one of which is a professional MMA fighter, and he's got a grandchild, and of course his wife Kitty. And I feel terrible for all of them, just like I do for anybody that grew up with Piper like I did, because he was part of my childhood and he was part of my life, and not just in wrestling but in movies like They Live. And I'm glad I got a chance to tell him that when I met him, and he smiled and gave me a wink and said, "Well, hey, you turned out all right." That was Piper's personality. He couldn't resist making a joke, so I'm gonna miss him greatly, and I know everybody else will too.